Hi. Nice to be back in the studio again. It's amazing how much you miss a place like this. I mean, it's dank, it's cold, and it's pretty crappy, but it's home. Okay. Well, 1973. Gosh, what could be the film that we're going to be talking about next? 1973 was a wonderful year for horror science fiction. I kind of made up a list of some of the things coming out of that year that are quite remarkable. George Romero's The Crazies. Terence Fisher's Frankenstein, the Monster from Hell. Oh, there's a good one. Crazies, not bad either. Larry Cohen's first It's Alive film came out that year. 1973 seems to be stacking up as a really solid year. Woody Allen's Sleeper, one of his working in the genre that we're sort of moving towards. Richard Fleischer made a wonderful film that year. Soylent Green. Soylent Green is people. Remember that. Okay. Michael Crichton, Westworld came out that year. John Borman, Zardoz. Remember that? Guns popping out of a big statue's head and stuff like that. That's a fun movie. Get a chance to see it. Of course, 1973. Remember waiting in line for hours in the rain to see this. William Friedkin's The Exorcist. We're not seeing that, though. Okay. But some other good. Legend of Hell House came out that year. John Hogue's film. Wonderful movie, probably. And we've talked about that before on here when we talked about House on the Haunted Hill. One of the best, I think, haunted house films. I'd have to put it up there with Cat and the Canary and things like that. Robin Hardy's The Wicker Man. You haven't lived until you've seen that. There's a wonderful film. And, of course, George Lucas's American Graffiti. 1973. Wonderful year. Well, what the heck are we talking about? Well, in 1973, I remember seeing this when it came out. I went to a drive-in. It was double billed with Rene Cordona's Night of the Bloody Ape, Mexican horror film. So we're sort of maybe moving down the line here. What is the film we're seeing tonight? We're seeing John Fukuda's Godzilla versus Megalon. For my money, I'll stack this movie up with the first Godzilla, and maybe with King Kong versus Godzilla and Mothra. Can't forget Mothra. Rodan. There's another good one. But we're watching Godzilla versus Megalon. This happens to be the 13th film that Godzilla appeared in. And, 13 usually is bad luck, but in horror, right, that means good luck, I would think. So you're going to have a good luck with this film. This is kind of an interesting movie. It deals with these Ceetopian guys from outer space. They enlist the help of monsters to help take over the earth. You know, it's interesting how the Japanese films seem to work with this idea that they can enlist the help of monsters to do work for them. They go to Monster Island or something like that and bribe a big monster or something like that and say, come over on our side and fight. It's sort of like a replication of the Cold War that's going on in the world at this time. Well, the two really weird monsters that you're going to see in here. Megalon, which is basically a giant cockroach which shoots rays out of its head, and Borodon. I love that name. Sort of like borax. Borax. It's a giant chicken. I love that monster. Well, who do you enlist to fight these guys? Not the Ghostbusters, but Godzilla. And a robot that's able to change his size, Jaguar, he's called. This is a fun movie. This is really a film, another in those kaiju-iga genre, which means monster cinema in Japanese. And this is Toho coming back at you again. Really making a fundamental, rebirth of the Godzilla again at this point. I remember seeing this at the drive-in. It was raining really hard. I actually didn't come to see this film. Okay, I went to see Night of the Bloody Ape. Well, it was funny about that, too. This is back in the days of the great promos, you know. You know what they gave you when you came into the movie drive-in, you know, and you pay your ticket. They give you some body parts. I think I got a liver or something like that, okay. Plastic, yeah, they kind of chip you. But I got a plastic or a rubber liver. I think a friend of mine got like a lung or something like that. And that was the kind of promo they did for Night of the Bloody Ape. Now, there's a film I wish we could see. There's one strange medical horror Mexican wrestling film. Talk about hybrids. Well, the film we're seeing right now, it's kind of wrestling-like too. I always see Godzilla versus Megalon as being a tag team Godzilla. And when you see it, you'll see what I mean. These guys kind of slapping hands and taking turns fighting. It's like they couldn't orchestrate a number of monsters fighting all at once. It's like they could only do one at a time. And unlike the cheaters, that you see in all-star wrestling type of things, these guys, they kind of obey rules a little bit better. Not much. Well, I hope you're enjoying the stuff that we're working with out here. Godzilla versus Megalon is, it's not The Exorcist, and it's certainly not Throne of Blood, or it's not Ugetsu, but I'm not going to feel ashamed in saying that I enjoy this film. I'm not going to feel ashamed in saying that this film has some value. Who's to say what has value or not? If we enjoy it, isn't that part of the bargain? I'm thinking so. And the more I look at these kinds of things and put them in relationship to high culture, whatever that is, hey, these are filmmakers who are working at their craft, doing what they can within the limits of their artistic, the limitations of budgets and things like that, and they're creating some admirable artistic works. Matter of fact, people sometimes criticize the Godzilla films, like, oh, it's just a big guy in a rubber suit. You can see the zipper half the time. I don't mind that. They don't hide the artifice. They don't hide the idea that this is a big rubber-suited guy. And in a way, it reminds me of kabuki puppetry, where on the stage, you not only see the puppet, but you see the guy who's running the puppet. In the West, we always hide our puppeteers, either up above, running strings, or down below, like your Muppets, right, on little sticks and things like that. Japanese cinema didn't care if you saw the machinations. That, to me, shows us a degree of sophistication. They can see beyond the idea that we have to pretend like it's real. Well, have fun with this film. I've said my little piece.